Hi guys, my name is Jimmy. I'm an instructor here at Pyramind, and I also produce under the alias Orca. Today I'm going to be showing you guys an overview of Ableton 10's new modulation delay effect, Echo. So let's get started. Over here in the audio effects, you can scroll down to E and you can drag in an echo. I already got one right here. What makes Echo special is that it lets you choose the delay and set the delay times for two independent, separate delay lines here on the left and right channel. Over here on the channel mode selection, you can choose between stereo, which we love, ping pong, back and forth, or mid-side. And when you choose mid-side, it lets you have one delay for the mid and one delay for the side here. So this is a really powerful delay. It can do a lot of cool stuff. I'm probably going to be showing you a lot of what it can do with, I've got a couple samples up here we're going to use. Got a little Celtic harp. Is it Celtic or Celtic? And we got a kalimba. Turn off the echo. So kalimba. We've got a harp. Great, so let's see how that sounds with the echo on. We can start to hear our delay patterns. Now over here, this is probably where we should get started. We've got the left and right channel, the two delay lines I talked about. You can sync them here to your BPM, right? So you can choose a beat subdivision value. You've got quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th, whatever you want. And based on that beat division, you can choose either just the notes, triplets, dotted, or 16ths. So dotteds are always nice. They bounce a bit more. And we can also unlink these. So you can unlink the left and right delay, and it's great because it gives you this little visual display, this little graphic here. These rings actually demonstrate the pattern at which your sound is delaying. So using these white markers in the middle, they're actually at an eighth note beat value for reference. So we can do something like this. You got a 16th note on the left and you got eighth note dotted in the right. Pretty sweet. Under that, we've got the swing percentage. So you can actually move back or move forward your delays by slight varied amounts, kind of simulating the swing of drum machines. So we can kind of hear that. Nice. You can also take off the sync and choose a specific time value in milliseconds. And so when you get really fast delay repeats, you get kind of a more chorused effect here. So if I take these both off, sync them up, or link them up. Super trippy. Super trippy stuff. Let's bring it back to, let's split them up. Let's use a time and a sync eighth note dotted delay. Great. So hope you guys can understand all that that's going on. Hope that all made sense. Under here we've got an input gain, which you can bump. These two buttons are pretty sweet, they're pretty special. You can actually add distortion or saturation to the input signal as well, kind of simulating vintage equipment. And this button here will actually add feedback back into the input signal, and that can yield pretty interesting results for really short delay times. We could try that out real fast. Link these up. Sounds kind of like a chorus effect. Over here, we've got a cool little filter, and you can pull it up here with this little arrow. This is the filter that will help us decide what frequency band we want our delay to be in. So you can take out some of the lows of your delay. So let me go back to some dotted eighth note values here, and maybe a dotted 16. So I'm gonna go all the way to wet so we can hear what the filter is doing. So generally you want to take a little bit of the lows out of your delay. You know, you don't want it to muddy up your mix too much. You can set the cutoffs here in a Hertz cycle value. Same with the high cut filter. And you can add some resonance if you'd like. You can also mess with all those parameters by just dragging that node right there. I've got an LFO actually set up over here. I'm gonna switch over to the kalimba really fast. Cool. If I take this LFO to max for live LFO and I map it to, let's say, the cutoff there of that filter, and let's take the depth down a little bit. That's a little too crazy. Let's go at a let's change that. Let's map it to the higher one. Cool. So that's a great thing about the delay itself is it's actually got its own LFO and envelope follower built into the modulation section. So we're gonna head over there in a second. Let's close that filter. This modulation section is pretty sweet. We have an LFO here, our modulation oscillator, and you can choose between, we've got all of our favorites. We've got the triangles and the squares and such. So you can pick your different waveforms to modulate your delay time here. Or over here, you can modulate the filter cutoff. So let's hear what that sounds like. So you can modulate that by percentage amount, and that will affect these delay times over here. So if I take this off sync into time, you start to get some crazy effects. You can map, again, I'm gonna go back to this LFO and map it to this percentage. Yeah, get some crazy effects going. This ×4 will multiply the depth of that by a factor of 4, so that's gonna be even more intense. Let's mix it in with the dry. Got a little trippy kalimba going. This over here is you can modulate, like I said, the filter cutoff. So let's hear what that sounds like. Let's go to something more like that. Really a beautiful, awesome delay. Can do a lot of stuff here. Let's reset those values over there. I am going to now go over here. We have actually before we get over to that, the sync value here. So this is gonna be the same thing as our sync button for the delay times. This can sync the rate of your LFO to, again, a beat value, right? or you can take it off sync and then you can be messing with the actual cycles per second. You can also mess with the phase at 180. That should be completely out of phase. As you can see, I love graphical displays. It really helps. And you can kind of mess with that. You can nudge it slightly if you'd like. Start to get some crazy sounds out of that. Let's go back to 90. And yeah, this modulation section is great. You know, you don't have to go grab, you know, a bunch of other LFOs or anything. It's just built in. There's a tab right for it, right next to the echo tab. Really awesome and great of Ableton to throw that right in there for us. Very considerate of them. In the last tab here, it's also really important. We got the character tab. This can really help shape, you know, a lot of the timbre and what makes your delay sound special and real if that's what you're going for. We got 4 different grids here that I'll talk about, and the repitch. So I'm gonna start with the repitch because we've been listening to it this whole time. Repitch causes variations in the pitch when you change the delay times. Kind of, again, emulating old hardware delay units. And we can hear that as I go. Right, you guys hear that like wow. So that's happening. If I link these up. So that's what we were hearing earlier. If I take that off, it just simply becomes a crossfade. Just like that. I personally, I like it on. I like trippy sounds like that. Just a personal preference. Coming up to this gate, so Live gives us a gate in this delay, and this will allow us, you know, the gate will activate anytime the input signal exceeds this threshold that we can set, and the gate will release when the input signal drops below that value, that dB value, by the millisecond amount we set here. So it's great, you know, we got LFOs and gates and stuff. It's just ease of use. You know, Ableton's packing it all together for us, so we don't have to go grab a bunch of stuff. It's really useful. Ducking. So if the input signal exceeds this threshold, the wet signal will drop, and we have a release time for that. And so this will kind of be like your side chaining your delays, which is really nice for stuff like vocals. You know, if you have a vocal coming in, you don't want the vocal to be muddied up with delay instantly. So this really helps. You can set the threshold of that ducking there, and you know, you can kind of hear the sound, the original, you know, the clear transient of a sound and the original sound before the delays flow in, if you set your parameters right. And we got noise. So noise, this is really cool. It's a noise oscillator built inside Echo. You can do a lot of crazy stuff with this. You know, like those old hardware delay units have a lot of noise, and it sounds pretty cool when you add it into your delay. So if I have that repitch, I have a little swing in my delays. Let's make this an 1/8 note value again. All right, you can kind of hear a little bit of that swing value in there, and then if we add a little bit of noise. Let me first show you what the noise sounds like. I'm gonna take the input all the way down and I'm gonna turn the noise up. Personally, I love that. It sounds great. You can morph between 2 kinds of noise. I wonder what happens if I tie an LFO to that morph. Sounds like a laundry machine, a dryer. So that's really cool. If I take the dry Sorry if I should have brought the wet all the way up for you guys. Great, so if I bring that back to about 50%, and I bring the kalimba back in, and then I can add a little bit of wobble, and you can add a certain amount of wobble, and you can morph between two kinds of wobbles. So let's hear that without the noise first. Really beautiful. So that's a really beautiful delay. I love all those little imperfections and slight pitch variations. And even after you've gotten, a nice delay like that, there's more you can add in this global section. Ableton's got a reverb for us. It's like, wow, we just don't need to go into our audio effects at all anymore. It's all here. You can set the amount of reverb you want, and you can dictate whether it's pre or post delay, or if it's fed back into the original signal. Post. Let's ping pong this. Let's take some of the lows out of the filter, out with the filter. Let's bring some of these highs, the higher stuff back. Let's take out some of that. Yeah. Great, so that's basically how echo works. Those are a lot of the basic functions, and that's kind of how we go about making a nice, beautiful delay. I'm gonna probably head over here. I got this percussion loop and some pluck bells. I'm gonna use echo and just kind of play these both together, and I'm gonna get some weird sounds out of the plucks. I don't know what's gonna happen yet. We'll see, but now that we've gone through how it works, let's just kind of experiment. I definitely recommend that you guys experiment with all the effects you guys use. Again, this was the echo overview for Ableton 10's modulation delay effect. My name is Jimmy. I hope you learned something. I had a lot of fun showing this to you guys, so check back Pyramind channel for more videos. We got a lot of other cool stuff on there, so thank you again, and see you next time.
If you're a music producer, subscribe to our channel and stay up to date on the latest Pyramind tutorial videos, track breakdowns, elite sessions, and more. Visit us at pyramind.com.